Question 2. How to handle information overload. Research and world building are often major causes for information overload in stories, and so research and world building can be double-edged swords for an author, because in both instances, a writer feels excitement and investment in the world they're building or the research they're doing. However, the audience does not. In the words of Jack Reacher author Lee Child, the research for me is a very strange process because I don't do any, not for the specific book, because I believe if you research for a specific book, then that research will be too fresh and too new, and it'll stick out like a sore thumb. It would be like sitting in a lecture hall about your least favorite subject. You might appreciate the speaker's enthusiasm, but you still don't care. Unlike the speaker, you have yet to develop any investment in the topic. The same goes for the audience of a story. An author might eagerly spew out a sprawling history of a kingdom, or explain every detail of a mystical sword-forging process, but the audience won't share your excitement, because they don't share the same investment, or have any investment at all. Instead, you're more likely going to encounter the writer's version of, "Is this going to be on the test?" Students asking this question are the ones wanting to know how the information they're listening to relates to them, since getting good grades on the test is their main goal. The main goal of a reader is to experience a good story, so while a teacher can spark a student's interest by attaching the information to a test, a writer can do the same by attaching world details and research to the main plot. A good example would be the Bell Warden story from the epic Lone Wolf and Cub. The story begins by reciting a short history of the Edo bell towers and their significance, how they became a timepiece for the people of Edo, and how life began to revolve around the tolling of the bells. We also learn that these bells serve as warning in case of war or an emergency. The bell warden must be strong, stalwart, and skilled. But why should the reader care about any of this? Because now we know the significance of the Edo bell towers. When the old bell warden begins to look for a successor, we understand why he hires the central character of the epic, Ido Agami, who is one of the best warriors in Japan, to test each of his apprentices in a vicious duel to the death, which is the main plot of the story. Suddenly, a bland history many a reader would likely never care about becomes relevant because in this case, the history of the bell towers gives us the motivation of the bell warden to find a worthy successor. Plus, it leads us to some cool fights. Also very important. Because the bell warden takes his job so seriously, his apprentices are dangerous enough to pose a serious threat to Ido Agami, which provide dramatic stakes to the narrative, and this is what holds our attention. Writers aren't given anything. They have to earn. Don't assume the audience shares the same passion you do for the things you've built, because they very likely don't. It is a test of skill and a sign of a skilled writer to spark interest in a topic that the audience previously had no interest in. Remember, the audience is there for the plot and the characters, so when handing out information, stick only to what is relevant to the plot or characters.